In the past weeks, we have heard how Jesus has challenged the chief priests, the scribes, and the Pharisees, how he has warned them that unless they repent, unless they change their ways, the kingdom will be taken from them and given to another. He has told them that the last will be first and the first will be last. Now the Pharisees are fed up, and so they make a plot. They make a pact with their sworn enemies, the Herodians, and together they try to entrap Jesus. The Pharisees strictly followed the law. They were very religiously concerned with temple ritual. The Herodians could care less about the law. They just wanted power. Herod, after all, was a false king. They wanted to be propped up in their power by the Romans, and so they did the Romans' bidding. These two groups, which were sworn enemies, want to get Jesus. So they pose a question. Is it lawful to pay the temple tax? Is it lawful to pay the tax to Caesar? But Jesus is faced with the dilemma. If he says it is lawful to pay the temple tax, then religious Jews will say, see, he is siding with our Roman oppressors, and Jesus will lose his followers. If he says, no, don't pay the temple tax, don't render unto Caesar this tax, then the Herodians would go immediately to the Roman authorities and they would seek to get Jesus. What was Jesus to do? It seems like an impossible situation. Except for God, all things are possible. Jesus gives a brilliant answer. He says, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and unto God what belongs to God. If you want to play by the Roman system, then do the Romans' bidding, but then be prepared to pay the Romans what they're owed. If, on the other hand, we say, render unto God what belongs to God. If on the image of the coin there was the image of Caesar, we should think about God's image, stamped on the soul of every person on this earth, born and unborn. We are all made in God's image and likeness. Do we render unto God what belongs to God? Do we give God fitting worship? And do we show our fitting worship of God by how we treat our neighbor, including the most vulnerable, from the unborn child in the womb to the disabled person, to a poor person or a homeless person, to those who are incarcerated on death row, to the elderly or feeble person or the person who is dying? Do we render unto God what belongs to God by treating these people with the care and respect that they deserve, by showing them true reverence, by accompanying them in their time of need, loving God in our neighbor? This is the task of every Christian, to render unto God what belongs to God. And that is the challenge of this Sunday's gospel. To be faithful is to say, I will commit myself to a deeper love, because Jesus, the Son of the Father, the one who bore the image of the Father in the flesh to the world, loved us to the very end. He was committed to us. He rendered unto the Father fitting worship through a sacrifice at Calvary. And we, his disciples, are called to do the same.